Hello everybody, thanks for checking out this video here on G4G on YouTube. Today's background soundtrack is still the Final Fantasy 13-2 soundtrack. Be sure to check out the other video that I uploaded tonight, which is my thoughts on what might be the Avengers Civil War Spec Ops. So, for this particular video, as you can see, the name of the video is Tactical Suicide. You might be thinking, didn't you do something like this? Yes, I did the benefits of Blaster Suicide. Now, speaking of Blaster Suicide, the Blaster blow-up teams have been quite controversial. There's been a lot of mixed emotions about this, and it certainly came to a head during today's From the Hellcarrier cast. There's kind of a heated discussion on it as to how bad is Blaster blow-up or how not bad it is. My opinion, there's three things with the game. Exploits and cheats, that's one. Unintended effects, and bugs. Exploits and cheats are things like the old Fantastic Fix issue and the Electro Thunderhammer issue that occurred last season. Those are bugs slash exploits. They should be bannable. Playnoms should take action. Those are things in other RPGs that the GMs will like ban you or lock you out of account for a week, 3 days, whatever. Bugs are different. That is like Scutum on Kurth double draining, or the Elite ISO Grit interaction that we had last season, where you would heal up 5 times. And then there's unintended effects. I believe Blaster Blowup falls into the category of unintended effect. The fact that 3 people could all be blasters and all hit you for a third of your health, a third of your health, and a third of your health, that is douchey, and it's an unintended effect. The other unintended parts of that is it does not proc mirror image. It is a fatal blow or brutal strike. And it is phased frequencies. Even if the blaster himself is not phased frequencies, the death is. The damage is unavoidable. Once you start mixing despair into the issue, you now have a really rough situation. And it's pretty easy to run double and triple blaster blow up with more than one ways of applying despair, therefore ensuring that you can't kill the despair person, heal up, kill somebody, heal up, if multiple people are causing despair. Hell, you could probably get all 3 to do it. So, I think what needs to happen to that is that it does need to hit mirror reality, it should not hit phased people, and it should not be a brutal strike. If you have a res, if you have somebody phased, if you have somebody shielded, and when the third person blows up, combat it should be death end, not death, damage, end. You can make the demon eyes die without blowing up, so you should be able to make a blaster die without blowing up, especially the final one. Well, in this video, I'm going to take you through a variant of the Suicide team. This team has only lost once, and that was because I got greedy and tried to go for an extra attack when I was hexed. I used the Mystic on Angrier. He countered it. It fell apart because of hex. He hit me. I was below the 60-point threshold. Everything fell apart. Other than my own greed, these guys are undefeated. So, as you can see, I have a double ISO suit tactician, Angrier, and Null. So let's jump into combat, and you're like, I still don't get what you're going for here, but you'll see. Much like Blaster Blow-Up, this one can be a little expensive. And the gear is kind of locked down. You absolutely really need to have the gear that I'm using here. And the good thing is all of it was on sale during the winter. So if you were playing the game in November, December, and January 2015, 2016, you should have purchased this gear. If you didn't get it, nothing I can do. The Chocobo music. always so happy. There is one piece of gear on here that you can play around with, and I recommend you take that 5th slot and change it to be what you want. You could have it be one of several things. I recommend free actions, I recommend heals, and I maybe recommend defensive cleansing. And this beats every team, by the way. This beats Spitlord teams, it beats Spit Blade teams, it beats the Angrier teams. So this is something a little different over here. Beta Ray Build and Electro, this is a kind of team we thought we might see this season, but it hasn't really materialized. It doesn't matter what happens at the beginning of combat. If somebody activates a class bonus, if somebody activates a quick action, everything spirals out of control for the defense, and it's all over. Just like Blade with the quickening. Watch what's going to happen. Null's going to activate his Bruiser benefit, and he's going to go, oh, Agent, you're here. Cutsies. My Agent gets an immediate turn because of the Vampiric Sword. So here's what's going to happen. I'm going to pick somebody on my team. Typically, I would pick the person who is furthest away from me in turn order on my team. However, it's not going to matter, and you're going to see why. But I'm going to go ahead and use the cup on Angrier, which says Angrier has rebuff, and I will come back to life if I die by the time Angrier gets his turn. I'm now going to look at the most deadly person on the enemy team. And that is going to be Beta Ray Build. Nobody's running Blaster Blow Up, despite the Ionic Devourer over there. I thought maybe he would be, but he's not. He doesn't seem to be running anything that I can particularly tell over here. So I'm going to consider Beta Ray Bill the highest threat over there. I'm going to suicide into Beta Ray Bill. He's dead. Now, if you have a triple Tactician suit, I highly recommend you get the Widow's Way ISO, the one that says you're stealthy and single target. If you are not stealthy when you do this, and you have a Deb on the enemy side, it will get tanked, and that will go to the Agent. So now at this point, I'm going to activate my Blaster bonus. I'm going to go ahead and purge them over there, and my Agent is back. And that is because of the Phylactery Cup. So now my Agent is back on the field. What I did when I suicided is I have the 2 store Death Tactician ISOs on him. The one that says the team gets single target attack, tactical bonuses just like Hyperion. And it also says the rest of the team gets extra turns. Where this is good is to hopefully get Null to go before Angrier, so that Null puts out the Meteor stacks and Angrier just buffs them. But it doesn't always work out that way. Regardless, it is still pretty killer. Now Null can go ahead and Meteor stack them. And since we know he's running Scudam over here, or I thought he was, yes, Praetorian Guard, we're going to avoid him, and we're going to pound on Electro. Electro is now flanked because of Null, which means he gets to do this, he gets to follow up on it, and he's just dead. He gave himself an extra turn because of tag team. By the way, the Poison Summon on Angrier is considered a melee attack and may give Null an extra turn off a tag team. So at this point, because my Agent suicided, my Mystic Shroud is not up. Or it shouldn't be up. No, it is still up. Good. So we got protected against that, except for my Agent. However, I can do that. And now my Agent is higher in health. And he's had his debuff removed. No. What can I say? I don't need to say anymore. That is the power of this team. This, for some reason, is not luck-based. And it does not need the combat communicator to get your agent to go early on, like when I did Blaster Blow Up. For some reason, something about the Vampiric Sword is injecting an extra turn right at the beginning of combat. And yes, it will go ahead of Spitblade. And yes, that is Spitblade with the quickening. It cannot beat the agent. And let's do one more over here. And I gotta tell you, this team is fun. You will laugh when you use this. You will get an evil villain laugh. You're like, oh my god. You'll sit there and you'll wring your hands like, ah ha ha. You'll twirl your mustache. It is downright evil. It's not douchey like Blaster Blow Up. And it's not really something you want to use on defense. But with a smart brain, this is really tough to beat on offense. The only thing that I ask is that if you happen to run into AP Johnson on defense, just don't do it on him. That's the only thing I ask. You know, and I'm not too afraid to share this with the public because it still requires a lot of gear that not everybody has. But if you have it, maybe I'm giving you a good idea. So, Enchantress and Null. If she activates combat reflexes, it's, yep, quick reflexes, it's all over. I'm going to cup on Null. And this is random. I think Null tends to go after Angrier. So, I am going to go ahead and get rid of Null on the enemy side. He's got to scoot him, I believe. He's going to be the deadliest threat. However, the agent has the channeling glove. And of course, Enchantress is a major threat. She, believe it or not, is not running intangible, which is kind of stupid. So, goodbye, Null. So in this case, Null jumped ahead of Angrier, which is good. We want to see that happen. Because that means that all the stuff Angrier does is going to help Null get his meteor stacks. So as you can see, my team is going ahead of them. Alright, we do get a counter. That is a little unfortunate. Null's taking damage, but he's not taking debuffs because of the fact that he's still protected from the Shroud. And now he's not even taking damage because Angrier is negating it. And he's going to follow up, and he's getting an extra turn from Tag Team. He's out of stamina, but what can you do? Those pesky follow-ups from Enchantress, those pesky counters. Yeah, we're going to get rid of that. And now we've created more stacks for Enchantress's meteors. So let's look at her. She's up to 4 stacks. We want to poison her so that she doesn't heal if she's got the Resonant ISO. That is melee, so that might give Null an extra turn off a Tag Team. He follows up on it because she's flanked. And what I could do now is I could possess them, but I'm actually going to make myself stealthy. And I'm going to protect my team with stamina drain. Meteor stacks are not going to kick in for her because the game thinks her turn has already happened. So, unfortunately, she's not going to take the damage until later. But she's getting plowed from Null now because she's not stealthy. Because we purged it. Now, what I can do is heal my agent. So, he's cleansed, he's healed, it's like he didn't die. And, by the way, he gets his own benefits from dying. He gets to benefit from his own tactical bonuses, and because Angrier is countering, Null is getting extra turns off a tag team. And look at what is happening to that agent. Now, the enemy agent is flanked. And he's going to get fatal blowed. Disgusting, isn't it? Doesn't that make you want to laugh? How that team got manhandled? A high hit point Enchantress team. A high hit point team that tries so hard to give magic over to Null for the stacks. A team that is winning more than half of the defenses. This guy is 57 and 88. That's a solid defensive record. Granted, he's purchasing his way to victory, but, you know, whatever. So, let's do it one more time. You might be saying, nope, still don't believe you. Still don't believe the team's going to work as well as you think. This is all recorded live. There's no editing on this. And you can see how far up the ladder I'm going. I might even stick with this for the rest of PvP. If I start getting frustrated with my X-Force team, my common team, I might actually use this the rest of the way. I had no idea it would be this good. I was sitting in a barber shop waiting to see if they could take me after the From the Hellcarrier cast. I was like, I really wonder, can I use the Suicide for something other than Blaster Blow Up? What about those tactical ones? I got one or two of those for Pesty on defense. I wonder if I could use that to my advantage. And the answer is a resounding yes. I'm not saying they can't be beat. That counter from the Deathly Freeze Ray and everything could have done a really good job. The DFR is magic. So here we go. Oh, well, my agent has a natural first turn. Very interesting. I bet I'm going to get an extra turn the moment I use the cup. So I'm going to try it on Angrier this time. And there it is. There's my extra turn. Now, this is where things can get screwy. If I get aggressive and try to use my extra turn and do some damage before I kill myself, this is where things can get very bad. Knowing that Angrier might tank the Mystic Shot, I'm not going to risk it. I'm going to Suicide into the enemy Angrier. Because it's not stealthy, the agent protects it. This is why I think you need to run a triple suit, and you need to get Widow's Way. Now, my agent is not back yet, because I picked Angrier. Angrier is going after Null. But Null is intangible. So, if you don't want to run tag team on Null, you can run him with Mystical, and that means he'll hit the intangible people. My Angrier is got phased frequencies, so he will hit intangible people. Since they are not protected by a shroud, I can go ahead and possess them. First, I'm going to apply Despair to the Angrier, which, because he's flanked, is going to get followed up on with that. I'm now going to possess them, which will hit Null. He's not protected from this. That will, at the very least, make them lose their turns. He's got tons of stacks. Kind of bad. Admittedly, kind of bad. But my agent didn't get purged because my agent is not protected by his own shroud anymore. If I do this, that will hurt him. But I can heal up anybody else that I want. However, I'm going to make myself stealthy. The Null, fortunately, loses his turn. So, now, at this point, what can I do? Well, I am going to Force of Life into Angrier, which will phase me. And restore a little bit of my hit points. And because he's flanked, we get the Brawl. And we get the extra turn because he's a blaster. And now I've just healed up more from the Vampiric Sword. Ta-da. Now, Purged has gone away on my enemy agent. So, I can cleanse that off. Or not. That didn't seem to do anything. So now his stamina is super drained. He is now targetable by Null. So these two are going to get into a slappy fight. Except not, because... well, that was just a straight miss. My Null is stealthy, so the enemy Null can't see him coming. Now that I've hit him, he's flanked, and Null is just going to town with his tag team. This will take advantage of the flank. That will take advantage of the flank too. Oh, actually, I forgot. Yeah, the net. There it goes. Risky over here. If he loses his turn, we're in good shape. We don't know if he will or not, but he dies. Alright, so that one was a little dicey. So you could see the team is largely going to work. It's very, very tough to beat this team. It generally works out just because of what happens with that Vampiric Sword and everything. It just works. It works for some particular reason. So guys, I hope you enjoyed Team Tactical Suicide. Now, you might be thinking, well, why Angry or Null? Honestly, it can be anybody. Anybody who's 15 is what I would recommend, because if you get to go first, the moment you do anything on your team, your agent gets a turn with this setup. I'm doing this because he can clean off the enemy's class bonuses and everything, and of course magic with Null. You could run another heavy magic user here, like Mordo. Anybody who could just help Null get his meteor stacks, but Angrier is just really good for this because he can heal, he can clean, he can do Despair with the Malignant Poison. You need these you need these three pieces here: the Vampiric Sword, the Corned Beef, the Phylactery. The Mystic is to protect your team from debuffs. I would recommend this over the Lamp. The Force of Life Blade, this is the one that you could go any other way. You can go the Magnetic Dynamo to give yourself an extra chance at extra turns. You could go the Remote Booster, any non-multifunction item that either heals or shields or cleanses. I like the Fall because I could get myself phased in time for maybe Angrier to heal me back up. So guys, there's the video. I hope you enjoyed it. It was a real fun team to think about and experiment with. Peace out, everybody.